no one can become a billionaire in an ethical way.
This past summer, I was helping the old man bring home some tractors, and he's 80, okay? And I'm like 23 with a nose ring. So when I said that you can become a billionaire ethically, I thought this would be an argument during our hour-long drive to go get these tractors, but instead he completely agreed with me. He told me this story about how he was going with some girl in Nebraska, went home to meet her family, and they had thousands of acres, a lot. And he asked her old man, how did you get all this land, you know? Like, what did you do in your farming to be able to have all this land, you know, expecting some business response. And the girl's old man tells him, well, you know, back in the day before there were really cops around, really people, you know, implementing law and order, if you will, my great-granddad just went around and shot all his neighbors. Anyone that had land he wanted, he went and shot them. Bought their land super cheap. Then it's been in the family for generations.
This is Micah 2:2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yashai, Ba'Shem Rakak Radash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the video we just watched and how that, along with other examples of stealing land, is a spiritual trait of the biblical Edomites. Well, as we just read here, right, this is literally talking about the wicked. It's talking about these Edomites, right, which is basically the biblical name for the so-called Caucasian race. And again, the Caucasian race also includes the Israelis, who are also Caucasian, though they like to try to hide it and claim to be Jewish, which there's no such thing as Jewish. Now, in that video, that young lady, she basically told on herself, okay? Because though she may have just thought this was an innocent story about some old Edomite that went around to kill people to take their land, this is ultimately a condemnation upon her own people. And when you look into these Edomites' history, this is a tale that continues to repeat themselves, right? They don't stay at home, right? Because again, Esau, he comes from, right, Mount Seir, and that's technically where they should be at. But what have they done? Well, they've gone through and conquered the entire world and taken the fatness of the world as their own, okay? Which is their spiritual blessing that was told to Esau by our forefather Isaac, that gave him that blessing. And lo and behold, they're living up to that blessing. Well, let's go and take another look at another example, something a little bit larger, with the man of the hour, Trump.
Let's see if we can get him.
Let's get him to sign your cap. I'm going to be down in a little while. I will. I'll be down. Just don't worry. President, we love you. Can we get
Mr. President, can you sign this guy's cap?
sign his cap?
The young kid, can you sign his cap?
Who gave you Golan Heights?
You! Only the president.
The one and only. The one and only. I gave you Golan Heights. You know what they say it's worth? $2 trillion.
Mr. President, can you sign his hat?
No,
Can you sign his hat?
and the capital of Jerusalem.
He has a Sharpie. He came prepared.
Thank you so much.
So you see there, Trump admitting that he gave Golan Heights to these Israelis, right, to these Amalekites. And why is that? Well, because it's biblical. You see, these Edomites, like I said, they take the choicest parts of the land, and as Trump said, right, that land, Golan Heights, which was biblically known as Bashan, right? The city of refuge, when the Bible refers to it, right? That land is worth $2 trillion. Now, why is that land worth $2 trillion, right? Remember, this all happened in 2019, okay? Basically, right when the scandemic started to happen, right? Well, this is why. Okay, let's pause this. It says, are the BRICS nations alone in condemning Israel's genocide in Gaza and theft of Syria's land and resources? See, this is Syria's land is talking about Golan Heights, and it's not really even their land, it's the Lord's land. Okay? It says the BRICS superpower Russia, China, India, and Brazil all voted for Israel leaving the Golan Heights. This put BRICS at odds with the Israel supporting US and the UK, which voted against the resolution but failed to stop it. In 2013, Israel granted oil exploration rights inside Syria in the occupied Golan Heights to Genie Energy. Now check out who owns Genie Energy. Major shareholders of Genie Energy, which also has interest in shale gas in the United States and shale oil in Israel, include Rupert Murdoch, right, the guy who owns Fox and News Corp, and Lord Jacob Rothschild, the guy that just died, right, that Edomite king that just passed away. Well, now his son, Nathan Rothschild, is the owner of it, okay, or at least of this deal. It says, and not a Jew, allowed Genie Energy, a company affiliated with Dick Cheney, right, Dick Cheney was the vice president of the United States under George Bush Jr., right, he was really the real power behind the presidency. It says, to exclusively drill in Syria's Golan Heights, Jacob Rothschild of the infamous Rothschild banking dynasty and Rupert Murdoch invested in Genie Energy. Genie subsidiaries include Francis Total, Afec Oil and Gas Subsidy, and American Shell Oil, AMSO. Right, and it tells you here, it says, many countries want Israel to give up Golan Heights, where Cheney and Rothschild Company drilled for oil under Netanyahu. So you see, what's happening is that the Lord is setting these devils up. See, he's putting it into their spirits to occupy all this land that used to at one point belong to us, the Israelites, okay, and Amalek, right, and along with the help of his fellow Edomites, right, Amalek being is the biblical name for these Israelis. Well, they're using all their force to take up all the land of Israel, right? This is why you're going to see the Palestinians get kicked out. You're going to see the Lebanese to the north of Israel get kicked out of South Lebanon, right? They're taking all that land, okay? In 2019, they took Golan Heights, okay? And just so that let's read this so you kind of understand what took place. It says, this is international views on this Wikipedia article entitled Israeli Occupation of Golan Heights. Now, as you can see here, there's been multiple attempts of trying to take over Golan Heights, but in 2019 it was finally given to the Israelis, the Amalekites, by, you just heard it, Donald Trump. And not only did Donald Trump, who is an Edomite, give, it wasn't even his to give, but he ruled that Golan Heights was a province of Israel, but he also moved the capital of Israel to Jerusalem, okay? So let's read this. It says, the international community, with the exception of Israel and the United States, right, that's Edom, regards the Golan Heights to be Syrian territory held under Israeli occupation. A number of states recognize the Israeli occupation as being legitimate under the United Nations. And what is the United Nations? Well, it's simply just a tool for these Edomites to push their rule over all the other nations upon the face of the earth. The United Nations Charter on a self-defense basis, but do not consider those concerns to allow for an annexation of territory seized by force. In March 2019, the United States, which previously considered the Golan Heights to be occupied, became the first country to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the territory it had held since 1967. The rest of the international community continues to view the territory as Syrian, held under Israeli occupation. The European Union, members of the United Nations Security Council, issued a joint statement condemning the U.S. announcement, and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres issued a statement saying that the status of the Golan Heights had not changed. An Arab League denounced the U.S. move, declaring that Trump's recognition does not change the area's status. Well, that's Edom for you, right? They don't need any of these other nations' permission to take the land. They just need to set up some sort of bureaucracy or some sort of legal laws that basically gives it to them. And that's what these devils do, right? They covet these fields and they take them by violence, right? First they'll draw up laws to make it legal, and then they'll do it, right? And who makes the laws? Well, they do. Okay, this is Ezekiel 36:5. This is what the sovereign Lord Yahweh says: in my burning zeal I have spoken against the rest of the nations and against all Edom, for with glee and with malice in their hearts they made my land their own possession, so that they might plunder its pasture lands. This literally is talking about what is going on. These Edomite devils, they have appointed the Lord's land into their own hands. To do what? To plunder its pasture lands, or should I say, to drill for oil and shall, right? These devils are literally fulfilling the prophecies of the Edomites. They don't fulfill any of the prophecies of the Israelites. They fulfill the prophecies of the Edomites. And why is that? Well, because they are the Edomites. And like I said, though they seem like they're winning now, they're conquering all the land of Israel and they're taking it for themselves, this is actually just the will of the Lord. Because when you read the Bible, you find out that the Lord is setting up a trap for these Edomites, right? Also referred to as the wicked of the Bible, so that they'll take the bait and then be caught in a trap. And what is that bait? Well, the bait that the Lord set out for these Edomites is the land of Israel. And Esau has taken it hook, line, and sinker. And what's going to happen to him? Well, let's read. This is Joel 3:2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. You see that? So the Golan Heights, when you look at where it belongs, well, it's right here. Let's see. So here's Israel, right? And this is the Golan Heights. Okay, this is the land that they stole from Syria and ultimately stole it from the Lord. Okay, now they're gonna, right now, Israel is bombing the shit out of South Lebanon because they're gonna take this land too. And right now they're pretty much gonna take all of Gaza, which is why on Redacted they showed that Israel in 2014 made a agreement with Egypt to take all this land, I think down here, and basically make it a refugee camp, right? That's policed by the Israeli military, though it belongs to Egypt. Think of it like Guantanamo Bay, but for Israel, right? And they're gonna basically move all these refugees into that land while they run the Ben Gurion waterway through here. And then right now you're already starting to see that they're going into the West Bank and basically killing people and taking land. And there was even a video this last week that came out where another Amalekite came out at a New York City Council, I believe, to blow the whistle that there was going to be land being sold off, or there was properties being sold off in the West Bank. So basically illegal settlements were going to be sold at a synagogue there in New York, I believe. Right? So to show you, man, that these devils are just moving in. Right? And not only that, but check this out. Right? That land that Trump gave them, right, appointed into their own hands, Benjamin, not a Jew, right, set up a settlement and called it Trump Heights. Right? What do the scriptures say? Right? That they call lands after their own names. You see that? That's what these devils are about. These are the Edomites. Okay? The Israelis and America. These are the Edomites that the Bible speaks of, except for the Israelis are the top tribe of Edom. They are the most wickedest Edomites that there are. But again, this is all being done by the will of the Lord. So though it may seem unjust and unfair that these devils, these Edomites, the Israelis are winning, that they're getting everything that they're stealing and killing for, well, it's all to fulfill this prophecy here. This is Micah 2 and 3. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. And that's ultimately what's going to happen. You see, these devils, they're going to do something. And more likely, it's going to be that they're going to go into West Bank. Like, I'm pretty sure Gaza's gone for. That's gone for. Golan Heights is gone for. Lebanon, that more likely is going to fall. But the West Bank is going to be the last stand that all these other nations, I bet you, are waiting for. And why do I say that? Well, because in the scripture where it says that he's going to bring all the nations down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, well, that's right here. That's right here. Goes all the way like this. This valley right here, because again, right here next to like the Jordan River across here, this is all mountains, okay? And then there's another mountain range up here where Jerusalem sits on. And in between these two mountains, down here like this, is a valley. And that valley is referred to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Also, Megiddo, right down here. This is like where Megiddo's at. This is where Valley of Jehoshaphat's at. This is where the Lord is going to bring the nations to. Now, why would the nations all go to this land? Well, because of they've all seen and they all stood back, right, and condemned the actions of NATO, Israelis, and America for what they're doing to Gaza City, right, in Gaza, right? But what's going to happen is when they try to go into the West Bank, this area, to take this land, then that's when these other nations more likely are going to mobilize, and they're going to go in and they're going to provide support. And again, why is, and another reason why is because the West Bank is on the border of Jordan. Now, Jordan has since, for the most part, sold out to Amalek, right? They've taken many deals, but for the most part, they're Arabs, right? They're Ishmael, so they're going to eventually, bend the knee to the other Ishmaelites to help them out, and eventually, this is where you're more likely going to see the other armies coming in. And right now in Syria, Russia is patrolling the Golan Heights border. Okay, basically they're conducting military, what do they call them? Military practices, or I don't know, the word eludes me, where they basically put on a fake simulation and shit, but they're basically going back and forth, right? So again, they're ready to go in. Okay, so just wanted to show this, Aki, and wanted to show you that these devils, they fulfill the prophecies for the Edomites, right? And the thing is if you understood the Bible, this would be plain as day for you, right? But again, these churches and all these wacky Christians around the world who have had this truth for hundreds of years haven't shared any of this, right? They've done nothing but deceive the people and miseducated the Israelites, the real Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, to what's actually going on. But again, for those who have had mercy given to them, and they've had the breath of life shared with them, and they've managed to find the apostles and lessons like this, well, we could see what is happening. We could see that the devil is making his move, and these Edomites are taking all the land. And why is that? Because again, the Lord is setting them up in a trap, right? He got them in a trick bag. So either way, Akim, hopefully this video was edifying. Till next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahshai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash, Shalom.